Hey everybody, and welcome to today's discussion. It will focus on colorism and its relevance to Chicana discourse, and we will dissect and explore the many shades of ideology concerning contemporary day-to-day issues for deeper understanding. Before we do all that, we're gonna introduce ourselves. My name's Xavier.
I'm Cinthia.
I am Elizabeth.
I am Jose.
And I am Erick.
First, I'd like to talk about an article that I found on CNN and regarding Yalitza Aparicio. And it was about a Mexican host who played a skit with a brown face, and she received a ton of backlash. However, interestingly enough, the backlash came from the United States and not where Mexico. Quite the opposite happened, where she was encouraged and in fact celebrated for doing that.
Yeah, do y'all know who Aparicio is to begin with? Have y'all seen the
Yeah, I seen the movie. It was dope.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So she's a Mexican actress from Oaxaca. She is a teacher and also was part of the film Roma. I believe she got an Oscar, or was she nominated for one, right?
Yeah, she was nominated. She didn't win it, but the fact that she was nominated was, headlines to.
Very massive.
Yeah.
High honor there.
And so even then, talking about how she's Oscar nominated actress, and the fact that she was still subject to ridicule, right, by I guess what you said, American standards, but not in Mexico. I think deserves a lot of attention, right? Because I think that does tie into ideas of colorism, and how colorism is this thing that kind of imposes dehumanization onto dark-skinned people, black people, indigenous people. And I think that can be tied into historical contexts of indigenous people and how so often they are dehumanized, right? And that dates back to the story of La Malinche.
Malinali se llamaba la mujer que Cortés idolatraba. Era morena y tan bonita que a la tropa subyugaba. Malinali, el pueblo traidora te llama, pero eso es una gran infamia.
And I feel like she's that embodiment of the intersectionality between being a woman and being a woman, being indigenous, and being just a person of color. The fact that she gets blamed for this downfall of, the indigenous way of life in Mexico, and she gets blamed for these things, but she herself has been dehumanized. She has been purchased like an object. She is not really in control of what she gets to do, and it's that rejection of her.
I think that also still ties into contemporary day, the story of Yalitza, and how intersectionality is definitely tied into the story of La Malinche, right? And being able to address the fact that La Malinche was a woman, right? She was an indigenous woman, and then to tie it into the story of Yalitza Aparicio, right? She also kind of embodies that idea of intersectionality that Chicana feminists have brought up, and how she as an indigenous woman was able to bring the story of domestic workers who are indigenous women to life.
Native people are treated without the respect that they deserve, and there's that disconnect to this day.
And it clearly shows in our society today. The study shows that, Mexican-American women with dark brown skin, they receive fewer rewards in society even when they invest the same amount of human capital as those with lighter skin. Women who more closely resemble whites, they receive more rewards, and even if they don't work or study as hard as their darker skinned sisters. So, this is like one of the many ways in which we see color stratification within our society. It's very interesting how even like within our own cultures, within our own people, like we see this divide of seeing indigenous people as being less than us.
I definitely think kind of that, right, like indifference to brownness has the same connection to indifference to blackness, right? That I think we have seen in the Latino community.
Way to this reading, I read, it's called Too Black to Be Latino, Latina, Blackness and Blacks as Foreigners in Latino Studies, written by Tanya Cattery Hernandez. So basically what this reading was about is how ultimately the examination of Afro-Latino in this specific context reveals a racialized treatment of Afro-Latino identity as kind of foreign. Basically, it spoke about the ambivalence and the indifference that we as a Latino community have towards Afro-Latinos. And it kind of ties back to this element of colonization, dating back to those periods of the Malinche. Basically, in that transitional period, in the Americas, the whole transatlantic slave trade complex and whatnot. After we had this new culture, this new, extremely new culture of Afro-Latinos, Latinas.
I remember when I first discovered what black was, and then people kept calling people black. I remember like black, oh he's black, oh she's black. I'm like, black? They're not black, they're brown. They're dark brown, that don't make no sense.
I know I always stress to my family whenever they say something like, they'll be like, Julissa, tú y eso moreno, and I'm like, we are the morenos. That's us.
Your parents.
Like, I think that, like, question brings up, right, like, why Chicana feminism even, like, existed, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's people, specifically white women, who led the discourse about women's issues, and I think that excluded the narratives of Chicana women, right? Mm-hmm. Chicana women who were discriminated against for their skin color, right?
And there's definitely that element in just the difference between the way that white feminist women led the discourse, like the issues that they presented were like, let's have an equal pay, let's have this or let's have that, and like Chicana women kind of brought up different issues like, can we first have access to like the same spaces? Can we first have even a platform to speak? Can we first even just have an opportunity to not be pushed aside, And women of color in general are just among the most oppressed and the most marginalized, and that's kind of where it all kind of goes back to. Just who's leading the discourse, who is the most marginalized, and does the marginalized person finally get a voice?
And I think that would be something that history will answer through the struggles that we will keep fighting as a society as a whole. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Radio Reloj.